All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our One Cool Thing session of Canvas Day. I do have to apologize, we don't have ice cream to serve you this year, but if you have some in your freezer, please feel free to partake throughout the session. Hopefully we'll be able to serve that to you next year. So our 7 presenters today will talk with you for about 5 minutes about the cool thing that they do in Canvas. Then they'll have a few minutes after their presentation to answer some questions. So please, if you have any questions, type them into the Q&A. And if you have the same question as someone else and you see it's already in there, just go ahead and give the thumbs up button so that you upvote it. And then after we hear from everyone, you as the attendees will vote on what you think was the coolest. So we will be posting today's recording and the link to the voting form on our website and our YouTube channel, and also in the chat throughout the session. And then the winner will be announced at the end of our very last session for the summer series on July 22nd. So we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll go ahead and let you share your screen, Ron. I think we lost Ron. Let's just go ahead. Pauline, would you be ready to start us off?
Hi, sure, I can do that.
Sorry about
Ron,
that.
It's okay. I hope Ron will come back shortly. So let me go ahead then and share my screen. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are now seeing my screen. Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity to just participate this year and to share my cool Canvas story with you, entitled The Wednesday Weather Journal. It's really sharing with you about how I found a really cool way to use the Canvas quiz platform and utilize a journal reflection technique for an assignment that really fit the needs of my students. So the course that I'm sharing about is HM 430. It's a senior hospitality management course where soon to be graduating seniors plan, develop, implement, and evaluate a real life pop-up restaurant at the Penn State Berks campus. It's a very intense, high stakes 16-week project that they have to work on. And a key part of that is having the students who become student managers working in student management teams evaluate themselves as well as others in the process of planning for this restaurant. Now, one of the things I learned when I first did the evaluation exercise is that the students actually hated writing this long essay evaluating their experiences. And I had to ask myself, how can I create a reflection assignment where I could really get meaningful feedback from them as student managers in a way that they would enjoy writing? So Canvas came to my rescue in a way that I'm referring to it when I conceptualized it as the Wednesday Weather Journal, where the traditional Canvas function allowed me to adapt and create a journal assignment, which really asked the students 2 questions. The first question gave the students images of the weather to choose in a multiple choice format, which best described their experiences working as a student manager. Students could select sunny and bright, that image, which meant things are going great, the management team is good, they're excited about moving from one module to the next. It's partly cloudy, which would mean it's okay, a few questions here and there, but I think we're getting there, we are sailing along. Or they could choose an image of the weather that's stormy and turbulent, which means I hate this experience, it's not working for me, I'm not enjoying the management team chemistry, etc. And the second question in this Dear Diary journal type of assignment would ask them to use the image that they selected in the previous question to further explain their experiences, reflecting on themselves and reflecting on their peers as student managers. Here is an image that I'll share with you of what it actually looked like in the Canvas platform, where I used the quiz function and I created 4 Wednesday weather journals. And in case you're wondering, why is it called the Wednesday weather journal? It's simply because the journal was due once a month and it was always due on a Wednesday. So September 25th, October 9th, November 13th, and December 13th were all Wednesdays when the weather journal was used. It comprised 4 25-point journal reflection assignments comprising, as I mentioned before, 2 questions. So here's a format for question 1. I used the multiple choice format, and students were able to choose a sunny and bright experience, as I mentioned, which meant clear skies, everything is going great. A partly cloudy experience where it's going good, I have a few questions, but we're getting there. Or stormy and turbulent, this is bad, I'm not feeling it, and I am frustrated. After question 1, students would then go to question 2 in their journal entries and provide me now with a bit more elaboration describing what their experiences were. And you can see here that this allowed me to use the essay type question in Canvas with a few guiding thoughts for them to now give me additional feedback on their experiences with the particular module. Here, I'll share with you an actual submission that I got from a student, and we'll call him Aaron. And you'll see that Aaron, his response to question 1, he indicated that his experience was both sunny and bright, but also it was okay, partly cloudy. And that was an important thing where by setting the multiple choice format to allow them to select multiple options, they could describe different phases of their experience over the module. In response to question 2, you'll see that Aaron said, overall, I'm feeling sunny with some large passing clouds. The group's overall communication is great. The group me chat we have is very helpful, though I did get frustrated at some points when I thought a certain decision was made, but another group member kept bringing it up for discussion. So this is an example of how I got really meaningful feedback by using the Canvas quiz function to create a journal reflection technique. So what exactly makes this so cool? Well, first of all, I was able to use the Canvas quiz function that I had traditionally used for quizzes and exams type assessments in an innovative way, to use it as a journal reflection technique to improve the assignment and to improve the quality of what I got from the students. Instead of a long 100-point essay at the end of the semester, the students were able to give me 4 smaller Dear Diary journal written entries that could help me and give me feedback as we proceeded throughout the course. It was very flexible in the fact that I was able to use the multiple choice question or the essay type option, and further modify that by allowing the students, as I did last year, to even upload their own images of the weather that they felt best depicted their experiences. So I was able to give timely feedback and have a much more agile response to when things were not going well in the management team throughout the semester, giving feedback as opposed to learning all the things they loved and loathed at the end of the semester when it was all done. And finally, an important part of placing hospitality management students in this high stakes learning environments where they are operating with real money, real profit, real food, and as student managers allows them to reflect on self and others. So the learning goals were absolutely obtained, and that's just a few of the reasons why I thought this was just a cool way to utilize Canvas. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions or comments that you might have at this time.
So right now, Pauline, we don't have any questions, but I would agree that that is a really cool way to use Canvas quizzes. Did you have any problems with images sticking in Canvas that people couldn't see?
No, in fact, I utilized, just in terms of ensuring that I went to a commons sufficiently where there were no copyright issues. There were no issues with the images at all that I selected of the weather and searched for. They fit beautifully, and I could modify the size of the image to larger or smaller depending on how I wanted it to be presented to the students in their window when they opened the assignment.
Excellent, thanks.
Sure.
Somebody was asking, Judith was asking what the group me chat function was that you mentioned?
So the group me chat that Aaron, the student, mentioned would have been their initiative. It wasn't a part of the course. They, as a management team, came up with a way that they could download the group me chat. So I imagine it's similar to WhatsApp or other group type chat functions. And it was the way they decided to communicate among themselves as a management team. So that would have been their initiative.
Awesome. Thanks, Pauline. We'll go ahead and if you can stop your screen share. Thanks so much for presenting. And then Ron, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, so welcome. My one cool thing is using GIFs as a tool in Canvas. So as you can see here, how exciting and how cool is that? Some of you might remember me from last year. I was the Bitmoji guy, so I really appreciated the last presentation with all the Bitmojis in there. So I thought I'd level it up a little bit this year. And we're gonna look a little bit at using GIFs in Canvas and how to do that the easiest possible way. So what is a GIF? If you look, GIF stands for Graphic Interchange Format. It is an image that is usually in the form of an animated or repeating clip, right? So we would look at these as GIF is very similar to an animated image that you would have on your phone. Technically, they can be static images as well. And this is how you can kind of get to the creation of what we consider or what we look at as memes. Why should you even consider using a GIF in your course? Well, if you look at here, you see some of the trends. Obviously, student attention rates are getting shorter and shorter. So this is one way, again, as you can see, that we could increase their attention, give them something to break up the monotony of the lecture. Students see and use GIFs in their everyday communication. I know my uncle just had a birthday the other day and I was sending him some happy birthday gifts, especially with everything going on being unable to see them. They're just plain fun, right? And if you include memes as well, again, you'll be the coolest teacher on the block. The educational value, right? When we talk about all these cool things that you can do in Canvas, one of the things that I always like to focus on is what is the educational value of using GIFs? Like what do the students get from it? What do you get from it? So the very first one that you see on there, GIFs can be used to give information on topics. So if you look in the middle there, this GIF is simply a rotation of greenhouse. You see the greenhouse gases there, you see the sun goes in, and it's just an explanation kind of about how the greenhouse keeps warm with the sunlight, the transparent cool. And I'm gonna show you how you can find these, but you can find GIFs that look at planets, that look at solar systems, again, that are repeating image. It just adds a little bit more to an existing course. And again, you can find images like that on an array of different topics. Instructions for a task, if you know DJ Callan, again, he's up there in the corner. So you want a student to stop at a certain part for a discussion or whatever, you can use it for instructions. Stop, go ahead, continue to do your work. They're really easy just to upload into Canvas and give students that feedback. Feedback to students, you can see, obviously, this is me standing outside my shower this morning because I was not obviously allowed on campus or near the office. So something as simple as giving feedback. I did do a lot of the GIFs during COVID, just to let students know that I was still out there, still thinking of them. So they do really good job on an exam or something like that. Again, just record it with my phone, add the little comment above, and then you can apply that to student feedback directly in Canvas. And the other reason why we use them is because they're just fun to use and make sure your pages in Canvas look a little bit more entertaining. So where have I used GIFs in Canvas? If you look up here, course announcements, again, weekly announcements, I use GIFs in them. You can use them in pages if you create your own pages, weekly lesson plans, weekly guides, assignments, quizzes, discussions, tiles, and then student feedback. So they are interchangeable. I have used them in all of these areas without any errors or problems. And again, the student feedback that I get from my feedback is usually very good, and they enjoy this kind of format. What I'm going to show you real quick is this is, so I said mention tiles. So this is how I first started getting used to incorporating GIFs into kind of Canvas. So if you look on here, you'll see this is a stat class that I'm teaching, and then down here you'll see intro course, a courts and corrections, of course, we love our Judge Judy, and then a PSU 8. So when I click play here, you'll just see how animated my screen is. So again, it adds a little bit something to the tiles, gives it a little bit more oomph instead of just looking at the plain color tiles. And then I'm going to show you real quick how to do it. So we take this basic course here, you click on your course, scroll down to the left side to settings, and just like you would import an image, you're going to click on those 3 dots, choose an image that you want. Again, I'm going to show you where to get the GIFs from. Choose a GIF. I have a little GIF folder on my computer. Pick whichever GIF you think would look good for your course. Open it, and that's all you have to do. It is so simple and so easy to use. And again, it just adds that little extra component that the students might enjoy, and then it will just keep playing on your tile. Where can you find these GIFs? They can be found on multiple sites. I use Giphy, but it's also can be found on Tenor. I usually download mine straight from those sites and save them on my desktop. I'm going to show you real quick how easy peasy lemon squeezy this actually is to do. So again, you type in GIF on your any kind of search engine. It'll bring you to this page. You type in whatever kind of topic you want. So on this example, I search Penn State, and you can look and see some of the Penn State University memes that are out. There's a lot of lines dancing, a lot of fun students, a whole bunch of stuff that is related to Penn State, some not related to Penn State. But again, you can scroll through, find an image or a topic that you find interesting. I'm gonna scroll back up to the top, click on one of the dancing lines real quick, and then I'll show you how easy it is to either embed or copy it. So over to the right, you see copy link, media, or embed. You do any of those options. I choose just to right click on it and save it. You again, save it just as an image. It's saved to your desktop, and you can use it for whatever reasons you may have for your Canvas courses. You can also make your own, so you're able to use any of those sites that I just mentioned to make your own GIFs. So it's a great and easy way to be more noticeable in an online environment, and I'll show you real quickly how that works. This is the app right here. It's called GIF Maker, and it's very easy to do. All you simply do is you have a pre-recorded video of yourself on your phone, or you doing something. You just select the video from the list of videos that you have on your phone. It'll put it in format to you. Across the bottom, you can see all the different tools that you could do. I clicked on boomerang here just to show you boomerang is a reoccurring action, just going back and forth. So there's me walking forward, then me walking backwards. It'll take me backwards. You can add text to it and make it almost like a meme. This one I chose just to do a little bit of text here. I will fast forward it due to time, and I added some text to it, and you can see I am your one cool thing is what I noted there. And then the outcome is you have your final product, which you can see here. So I'm your one cool thing, just an image of me walking that'll just keep playing over and over again. Some final thoughts on GIFs. If you look here, some of the best practices I've used using these in the past 2 years, make sure that your images work properly, knowing when it is appropriate time to use and not use a GIF. Provide the details of the image so that the screen reader in Canvas knows what's going on. And again, right clicking on there and just adding the details, you know, line dancing at a football game, jumping on students' shoulders. Those kind of things are very easy to do. And that is all I have. I am open to questions if anyone has any.
We have time for just one quick question, Jane, if you want to.
Okay. Have you seen that these GIFs work well on the Canvas app, the student Canvas app?
They do, yes, they're seamless. So their dashboard will light up the same way that I just showed you the recording on my screen. They will see that animation on their apps. I see it on my instructor version of the app as well, and it's seamless, so they're able to see that as well. It just adds that little extra oomph.
Awesome. And we'll go ahead and leave. There's a few more questions in the Q&A, Ron. You can just type the answers in, but we'll go ahead and let Noel switch over to his presentation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're on mute, Noel.
There we go.
There you go.
Everyone's like me. They were just searching for GIFs related to their class. So I need to put that away so we can talk here. So I am Noel Habashy. I'm an assistant teaching professor in international agriculture, and hopefully you can see I am sharing with you faster, cooler, better using video for assignment feedback. So the first question I have for you is, who enjoys grading? I'm pretty sure we don't have to do a Zoom poll because I'm pretty sure the answer is no one. If you do, perhaps you are new. Because in general, I feel like most faculty feel that it can be a long, timely, arduous process where, yes, and the intention behind it is that it should be this meaningful, thoughtful, iterative process to promote student learning and development, but really it's a lot of time and arduous and boring. So what I have for you is a tool that is something that students will actually review, provides more meaningful feedback to students, saves time, provides a different medium to engage with students, helps you enjoy life more, and the word crush. Sound too good to be true? It's not. I have for you a wonderful life-changing tool called, and I kid you not, the Screencast-O-Matic. The Screencast-O-Matic not only fits with this schmaltzy carnival sales pitch that I'm doing for this presentation, but is also a really meaningful tool to help record video to then provide feedback for students. I know some of you are already thinking, oh, what about Kaltura? What about VoiceThread? Those are two products that truthfully I really haven't used as much, but I know they do similar sorts of things, and when I've interacted with them, it's similar. I'm sometimes a fan of use what works, and so this is what I have used and what has worked really easily for me, although I know those other tools are there and available. So how easy and useful is it? Let me show you. We go to the website screencastomatic.com, launch the free recorder. Now, the first time you do this, you're going to have to download the little plugin, but then it gives you a nice little frame that everything inside this frame is recorded. And so if we go to Canvas and go to the speed grader, which, side note, if you're not familiar with this speed grader, that is your one cool thing, because that will save a lot of time with grading. There's your bonus one cool thing. But here we have a brilliant submission from test student. Without violating any FERPA violations, this is what we've got. And I can right now in this frame, this is where I would have my student have their assignment. I can hit the record button right here, be 3, 2, 1. And this is where I can go through the assignment. If it's a paper, if it's a poster, if it's whatever sort of feedback you're giving on assignment, instead of making comments, typing, adding the text, you get to have a dialogue and an interaction with the student. It records your voice. It records where you are on the screen. As I scroll, it'll continue to record the scrolling. It'll follow the mouse. I know within Kaltura, there's an option to annotate or to add a marker to it. I'm going to hit pause here. That's my end of my recording. I'm going to hit done, save and upload. And then it's going to give me the prompt here. I'm going to save the video file as, we'll call it recording, sure, number 43. And we'll just put it onto my desktop. Hit publish. It's going to publish this. And then I'm going to switch over to Canvas here. And right in here, I often say, hey, please take a look at this video file. It's going to give you feedback on your work. And then I just browse and attach the file right there. And Canvas will upload that right there. And then you hit submit. And that is how easy it is to submit video feedback. So what feedback have I gotten from students? I've gotten things such as students saying, nodding their head when I asked them if it was useful. Students saying, yeah, it's good. But more significantly, also the word crush. I had students comment with that I felt like I was having a conversation with you. I think the rate and the response, anecdotally, not approved by IRB, but is from my observations, is a lot more students are reviewing the feedback, are watching it, are engaging with it more, are discussing it when I talk to them about the feedback that they received. It feels a lot more purposeful, it feels a lot more personal, and there's a lot higher interaction with students when we're doing this sort of means of feeding back. And it just feels less soulless than hours upon hours of grading that you wonder if anybody has ever looked at. So, questions, thoughts, things that you all might have for me I'm going to stop my sharing here and pull up the questions if there are any.
Yes, Pierce is asking about the recording of the audio. Is it
Yeah.
both the microphone or also just your computer?
Yes. Yeah. So that's a terrific question. So Screencast-O-Matic can do either so I use it as the audio from my microphone because I'm narrating as we're going through. Oftentimes I'll pause and I'll stop and I'll scroll down to, okay, where the next page or the next section of a paper, and then I'll restart and provide the feedback there. But for me, it's all about the narration of the interaction of the feedback. You can set it up to provide or record the audio that's on the computer, but I just haven't done that. And I think that's an area, so Screencast-O-Matic, in the interest of full disclosure, if you want the feedback to be longer than 15 minutes, or there's some sort of limitations to the free version, and so that's where Kaltura, I think, could be really useful. So I think if you're just recording the audio from the computer, Kaltura might be a better option. All right, any other questions? I think we're good here.
And that's good. Thanks, Noel.
All right, thank you very much.
Awesome. And then Nancy, you are up next. If anyone has more questions for Noel, you can check out the Q&A and just type them in. So Nancy, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay. Okay, hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nancy Schorschinsky. I'm a lecturer in math and chemistry at the Schuylkill campus. I'd like to share with you how I've been using tables in Canvas as a more engaging way of presenting links to material for students. It's common to use links to websites, files, and other materials in Canvas. I use them to direct students to various tutorials, reference material, or required reading for assignments. Of course, Canvas makes it easy to include links to websites in several ways. Although a link can be simply added to a module, I frequently incorporate links as part of the material on a page in a module. For years, I did this just like this, just as a link, as a word in the instructions. And then eventually I thought I was being more creative by adding a picture along with the link in my instructions. Last summer, I decided, why can't I do something that looks more like the links with pictures in two apps that I enjoy using on my phone, Samsung Notes or Pocket apps, where I save links to articles. There, the link is neatly displayed next to a picture associated with that article. So what I started doing was using a similar presentation by utilizing a table in Canvas. I would just use a small table with a picture in one cell and then a link in the adjacent cell. The picture I would get either directly from the article or I would just pick a picture that I thought would go well with the article or the assignment or the file, whatever. And then instead of using the entire title here, I would just summarize it in a phrase and make that the link. So I felt that this was much neater and clearer way to present the link to the material. Of course, it doesn't have to be vertical, it can be horizontal. You can vary the format. Here I have the blue print and the white background, here the blue background and the white print. And then, yes, Ron, I have a set of GIFs that I have on my computer that I just love from Presenter Media. I love these because a lot of them are really, I think, engaging and humorous, and they're very generic. And they're very simple. So so here's one, mastering your financial health. Someone bailing out, a refilling. I think they go together. So I have a set of those. So you don't have to use a picture. You can use a GIF. You can use an image or an icon, whatever you'd like to put in that adjacent cell. I've also used in a resource page in Canvas a larger table as a way to display multiple links on one page. Here, what I did was I staggered them to make it clear which links went with which pictures, and I feel it made a nice presentation without being too busy. In the fall, I'm going to use this format to link different sections of my syllabus in the syllabus section in Canvas. Here I embedded some Flickr images, which I got right in Canvas, that I thought worked well for these. And I can link these to the different documents that would be just those parts of my syllabus. Okay, the procedure to do this is very straightforward. Create a table of the desired size. You can see I've used different size tables. Locate which image you want to use that would work with your website or the document that you're directing students to. Either copy paste the address from the web. You can embed an image from Flickr. You can embed an image or GIF from ones that you have uploaded on your computer. Then just add the associated text in the adjacent cell. It can be, as brief. I think it works well to keep them brief. Then, of course, add the link in Canvas to the file or to the site to your text, and then format as desired with color, centering on the page, etc., background color. Can I answer any questions?
We have questions about accessibility. Do you know if these tables are accessible, or what your experience with the image accessibility, et cetera, is?
I am not sure, and I don't have experience, I'm sorry to say. I was told by an instructional designer once that it was better to use the tables for accessibility in Canvas, but I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. I think those are all the questions that we have, but I'm sure if more come up, people can put those in the Q&A, and if you wouldn't mind monitoring that a little bit.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nancy. And then next up,
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Yep, we can switch things over to John.
I did it.
Get started here. And shoot. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm John Haubrick from the Department of Statistics. This one cool thing is something I implemented in an online Stat 200 course with a roster of about 35 students. This may not be groundbreaking, but it worked well for me. Most of you are probably familiar with some of these concepts, but maybe not in the way that I put them together. So I'll quickly set the stage. In an online class, and even the new remote learning that we're dealing with right now, you often struggle with handling extension requests. And we constantly balance the integrity and consistency, with the fairness of all students, while at the same time trying to be flexible with students who have a lot going on in their lives. So the policy I was using, the old policy, allowed one lesson extension without any questions asked. And we have about 3 assignments due each week in Stat 200. So a student could get an extension of 5 days for all 3. They had to do all 3. It was one lesson at a time. So the problem is that a student might use their extension early, and then later in the semester, they might deal with a more serious issue that needs a special extension. So there goes the policy. Also, the students may use their extensions towards the end of the semester just because it's there for free if they want to use it. Also ran into the problem of managing these requests. I'd have to either check back on old emails or keep another spreadsheet that indicated if a student used their extension already. So here's my solution. I was reading a book called Small Teaching Online, and it mentions the idea of tokens for students to use in exchange for either late work or to replace assignments. So I got the idea of using tokens for extensions. So a student now could cash in a token for an individual assignment to get 7 days from the original due date. This is what I come up with. This would allow them to use their extension on just one assignment in a particular lesson, as opposed to the entire group of assignments from just one lesson. They could not be used on exams. But I also added another twist to the extension token, because students who do poorly in my online class are typically those who turn in assignments late or never turn them in. So to incentivize not using the extensions, I gave them the option to cash in their unused tokens for 0.5 percentage points on their final course grade as a bonus. And this is the only bonus option they had. So now the problem was, how do I manage all this? How do I manage keeping track of this? To manage this, I use the Canvas gradebook, but you probably know it's not always easy to figure out how gradebook will calculate extra credit. There's a couple ways of doing it, and it can be frustrating. Sometimes we just keep adding points to an assignment until we see the grade we want them to have. Granted, since I did this last fall, extra credit is a little easier now that Canvas rolled out the ability to manually change the final grade. But it still doesn't solve the problem of managing requests and keeping track of who and who did not use their extension. So if you use a weighted gradebook like I do, the easiest way to get the correct percentage added is to create a new assignment group worth whatever percentage you want to add. All right, so in my case, I had 3 extension tokens worth 0.5 each. So the most I want to add is 1.5% of their final grade. So now the gradebook categories will add up to 101.5%. For the record keeping part, what I did was I created 3 assignments, 1 for each token. They're blank, they don't say anything. And they're each worth their percentage in points. So I wanted to add 0.5, so they're each worth 0.5. So if a student gets all 3, all right, they will get 1.5 out of 1.5, or 100% of that category, which is 1.5% above all the other 100%. So Canvas will calculate that in addition to what they've earned in the regular 100%. Here's what it looks like in the gradebook. So initially what I did was when I set all these, at the beginning of the class, I set the default grade to be 0.5. So everyone is starting with this 1.5% extra credit. So when a student asks for an extension on an assignment, I would just change their first token to a 0. And you can see here some of the students who used all 3 throughout the course. There's somebody there that only used 1. Some people there used 2. I don't know why I have taken extension 3, but so now if they do use all 3, the thing to remember is there's no harm to the grade that they earn because these are still just bonus. So let's take a look at how this actually works in the gradebook itself. Hopefully you can see this here when I pull this over. All right, in my sandbox, my test student is doing really well. They have 100% and all their other things. So I took the extension tokens, so you can see them here. In this case here, I made them 1 point just to demonstrate a little bit easier instead of the 0.5. And if you look over here, the student now has 103%. If I would change one of these to a 0, I know exactly how many points I'm going to be adding to that student's grade now. It's 2. If I go over here, they have 102%. So if you're using an all or nothing like I am, this is the way to go. Just make it the number of points that you want to add to their grade, and then also make that the same as the category. So in this case, I think I had the category, the extra credit category is worth 3%. Back. I did a little research, not exactly peer reviewed, but to see how my fall 18 section did with the old policy that I was using compared to the fall 19 section where I did this. And you can see a reduction in both the amount of assignments submitted late and the amount of assignments not submitted. So, you know, the grades were also better overall, but there were other changes made to the course. So I couldn't really separate the results there of what caused what. All right, and that's my one cool thing. So I'll take any questions that you may have.
That's super creative, John. There are no questions in the Q&A chat, but there may be some coming in. But yeah, I thought that was really creative.
Yeah, we do have another minute before we have to switch over. So if anybody has a question, go ahead and submit it. I'll just let you look at the Q&A in case anything comes in, John, but we'll just go ahead and flip over to Denise.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Kristen, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Denise Rill with the Professional Graduate Programs at the Smeal College of Business, and our topic is the UNCourse. So as the Director of Student Services, I work with students from the time they're onboarding into our programs and then support them in the community throughout the program. And we were looking at other MBA programs just to get a sense of what community sites they were using. And there are a number of things out there. They are quite costly, and it also introduces another technology that the students would have to acclimate to. And so we really thought about this and thought, wow, can't we just use Canvas for this? They're already going to be using this for their classes. And so that's what we've done. We've adopted the use of Canvas for building community. I work with our Smeal MBA program. We also have other master's programs in management, organizational leadership, corporate finance, business analytics, and real estate analysis and development. Of these programs, I'm going to give you just kind of a concept here. The MBA program is our highest touch program, which means they receive the highest level of service from us. The management organizational leadership program is a medium touch program, so they receive a little bit more service from us, not as high as the full-time MBA students. And then our additional one-year master's programs are more of a lower touch program. So what we started out with was a community site for MBA, but then we quickly realized as we were onboarding students in from all around the globe, we had a real opportunity to connect with them over the summer. So we created an onboarding site. Once students are matriculated into our programs, we can open them up in Canvas. And we open it up from May to August, and we send messages to them on Mondays throughout this time, creatively called Monday Messages. And we direct them to do pre-work. And we have a lot of assignments and things set up in Canvas for their pre-work. It could be things setting up their profile in Canvas so they're ready to go when classes begin. We do introductions with them, with one another to build community. They start to work with our career team on doing resume prep and cover letters and things of that nature. And we found that this really helps to increase our students' retention coming into the programs. And it also better prepares the students for success. When the students come into the MBA program, oftentimes they are transitioning their careers. And so they have 5 to 7 years of work experience. So they've been out of the classroom for a little while, and now they're coming back full time for 2 years. And so being able to acclimate them quickly to the learning technology, many of which may have not used that prior, has an added advantage to prepare them for success as their classes begin. And we do have an accelerated program, so they are moving swiftly through the curriculum. So it helps their ramp up time a lot for us to onboard them over the summer. Plus our students are right in the career fairs at the beginning of the fall semester. So there's a lot of advantage there. We also then developed an orientation site. For our MBA program, again, this is our highest touch program. We do a 2-week comprehensive orientation, and many of these working professionals coming back to the classroom are used to attending conferences where they might have a conference app. And so I instruct them to download the Canvas Student Mobile app, and I set up the entire orientation as it would be a 2-week conference, and they can follow everything along through the student app on their smartphones. As we have different stakeholders throughout our orientation over the course of 2 weeks, we do publish the content in the Canvas site. So after each speaker, that content is available to the student to be able to refer back to. And then I also survey each of the topics as part of our continuous quality improvement as far as building our orientation schedules into the future. So we've already onboarded the student over the summer months. We've done our 2-week comprehensive orientation, and now we move on to our community site in Canvas. The community site is available to the students throughout the 2-year program, and it really is a communication hub for our students as far as their class schedules, academic administrative policies, procedures, anything that they need to know that we as a very small but mighty team would be able to answer for the students. We can put that here, and so the students can find a lot of answers on their own, but we're certainly there to support them as well. We have a career readiness guide there, and our career team works with the students through here together. And then we include a number of ready resources throughout the university that just saves them time for having to search things down for student health insurance, university health services, CAPS, health and wellness, any other resources that our students find helpful, we add to the community site. And because we're always collecting feedback from them, we can continue to add to what those resources are that people find helpful. Since we have started with MBA community sites, we've actually replicated this throughout our other master's programs that I mentioned. In the 5 years that I've been at SMEAL, we began with a full-time MBA program that had been around for more than 6 decades. And then my second year, we added the Master's in Management and Organizational Leadership. So it's very easy to model their community sites after what we already built for MBA. And then I mentioned our lower touch programs, our new 1-year masters coming online for finance, business analytics, and real estate. It's really easy now as we have brought in our team to essentially have a program coordinator kind of take our little shopping cart, go through the rest of what we have built on the other sites, and just be able to borrow that content and pull it right over. And it develops a platform really, really quickly. And then we all work together to share best practices and improvements along the way. And it's really been very valuable, the feedback that we have from our students. They feel like they can navigate things really easily, and they really appreciate the effort that we put out there. And as you know, we just continue to build this year over year, and Canvas makes it a perfect platform for us to be able to do that. So really, Canvas community sites have become an administrative home for our students. We use the announcements feature, we use the calendar of events, we put helpful resources there, and then all important frequently asked questions with many answers for students. And if you're sitting there wondering, like, why would we go to such efforts to support our students in this way? Part of the reason, you might have been familiar with the LinkedIn study that came out a couple of years ago, where Penn State produces, they're the #2 of producing the greatest number of CEOs in the country. And so we really try to provide a nice concierge service for our students when they're in the program here. So that's kind of what I had in a nutshell. It's a little bit more conceptual. Obviously, it's not a course, but it really does work well co-curricularly alongside all of our courses in a graduate program. And we've been really pleased with the outcome. I'm happy to take any questions.
We have a couple questions in the chat. First one's by Marcus. Is this a Canvas Pride or is this a master course? How did you create the Canvas space?
Thank you. Yes, so we've worked with our learning design folks in the SMEAL College of Business, and we actually set this up as a Canvas course, and it's not attached to a course for credit, but we are able to use the quiz features and things like that as we have students work through activities over the summer months. We do track the students too and the progress we're making with them over the summer to make sure they're prepared for fall, but it's also really important for our admissions team, because if somebody's gone radio silent on us and they're not getting things done, then we know if borrowing from an admissions term, if they may melt out of the program, in which case we can try to counsel with that student to see if they do want to continue for the program starting in the fall, or we often have a wait list. We can bring another student in their place.
And the second question was about how the students interact in the course. Is it more like a resource, or do the students actually interact with each other as well?
So they do both. So it's certainly a lot of resources there. We have been building in more and more opportunities for students to interact with one another. One of the great things, because we're 30% international, plus we have students all over North America, we do things like show us your Penn State pride. And so they can take a picture of themselves and their shirt and then start in a chat dialogue with one another. And many times they're building relationships before they even set a foot on campus. So it's been great that way too. Oftentimes too, because they're relocating and they're looking for housing just off campus and they may want roommates, they're able to connect and find people that they can room with as well.
Okay, I think that's all of the questions that we had. If anything else comes up in the Q&A, if you could just keep an eye on that, I'd be appreciated.
Great. Thanks for letting us present our course. We were pretty happy conceptually of how this has been shaping out. And I just want to thank everybody at Canvas Day because you guys have so many great skills. That's the part we need to continue to develop. Like we have the conceptual things there and we are using a lot of the features. But because we're not necessarily in the academic home, anything like I'm going to be putting those gifts right to use, Ron. So thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Denise. That's awesome. We're gonna have Jenny present now. Let me just set this up for her. Share screen.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Welcome to One Cool Thing, automating page publishing. I'm Jenny Shuck. Drop your questions in the Q&A or contact me at my PSU email address, jlh502, for more information or a PDF of my slides. I didn't think I'd miss our old CMS. Wait, am I allowed to say this at a Canvas Day presentation? But there's one feature I do miss dearly. Page publishing was automated, so I could set things to open and close, such that my class CMS would continue to run even if I disappeared. In Canvas, we have to publish things right on the spot when we want them to be published. But there are things that I do not want students to see in a published module while we're using items in that module that they need for class. I know I am not alone in this problem. You have it too, right? These solutions should open at midnight after the assignment is due and closed. But I don't want to stay up and be on Canvas at that time, just to publish this page. Well, whatever item you have that you want to open automatically at a set time, I'm here to tell you today we have a solution. You can do that in Canvas. Let me show you. Are you ready? Step 1. Click on discussions in your course. Step 2, add a new discussion by clicking the plus. This looks familiar, right? You can fill in the title and body as you normally would for a page. Well, if you already have that page created, that one that you're thinking about, right? Just copy and paste, that's easy enough. Here's the best part. Are you ready to scroll down for our next step? Do you see the date entry fields? Don't you want to jump up and down and scream like you're the winner? Go ahead, I'll wait. So you'll enter your dates and then save and publish. Even if you're not ready, publish it because students won't see it until the date that you set up, so you can go back and edit it before that date happens. I usually set my available from date as that midnight deadline, so I don't have to be on Canvas at that time to manually publish the page. I set my until date as the last day of classes usually, or whenever the last assignment is. And then I can publish it right now, knowing that it won't be available until the date that I set up. Okay, we're not done. There's one more step. We need to go back into discussions to set it up to have no comments. Then it will really act like a page. So I just created the new page and it's listed in discussions. I need to move that by clicking and dragging it into place under closed for comments. Done. Let me tell you why I love this so much. It solves so many consequences of not having automated page publishing. Here's our review and recap. I'm sure at least one of these bullet points will be a game changer for you. So I can treat this discussion as a page with no comments, and it will publish at a set time that I can set up in advance. Also, if students click on it, they'll see the time that it opens and that they won't have access until then. So automating this date time publishing means that there's no error message for like a Kaltura video that isn't published yet, but it's on a Canvas page that's already published, and then students see that little X and they're like, there's something wrong with your page. Nope, that doesn't happen anymore. There's no more need for me to be on Canvas when I tell students that something will be open right after class, or if the deadline is during a meeting that I can't be on Canvas during this meeting, or at midnight for those midnight deadlines, or any other time that I don't want to be on Canvas to manually publish a page. There is no chance that I will feel pressure to publish something early and risk students seeing it too soon. Come on, admit it. You've been there too. You know you've opened something too early and students see it before they should, right? I've been there. And there's also no chance that I will have students checking online for something that I told them would be there at a certain time, and then it's not there because I forgot to go onto Canvas and publish it. Thank you for joining me in One Cool Thing, automating page publishing. Drop those questions in Q&A, or feel free to contact me at my PSU email address, jlh502, for more information or a PDF of my slides so that you can automate your Canvas pages too.
Thanks, Jenny. Hey, we do have a question, or a couple questions in the chat. One was about that last step where you dragged to get it on the discussion page of pages. Could you just explain that again?
Sure, absolutely. When you're on the discussion pages, a new discussion goes into the bin where there are comments that are allowed. So you need to click on the 4 dots, 2 columns of 4 dots, to drag it down to the bin on the bottom that says closed for comments. So you can pick up any discussion and drag it to those different places. Now that does not take that discussion and put it in Canvas under pages. It's still a discussion. It's just closed for comments. So it's not a discussion anymore because there's no commenting available.
And then the next question is from Robin. She thought there was a student availability date in Canvas already when you select publish the date as optional.
I have not seen that on any pages. I know that you can set dates for quizzes and for discussions, but in terms of pages themselves, I have not been able to find an option that a page publishes at a certain time.
Sure.
Okay. I think that was all the Q&A. We do have time for another question if anybody wants to pop one in last minute here. Thank you so much, Jenny. I'll just wait a second.
That was my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. All right, well, that was our, Jenny was our last presenter. So the voting form is in the chat, the One Cool Thing voting form. So if you've been able to watch the whole session today, you can go ahead and click on that and vote for your favorite. I know a couple people came in late and they were typing in the chat, is the recording going to be available? And it is. So we're going to post it both on our YouTube channel and on our summer series website. The video won't be available until we have the closed captioning available. So probably Monday or Tuesday, we'll post that, but the form is already on the website. And again, it's in the chat. So if you need to go back and view something again, if you missed 1 or 2 of our presentations, you can just wait till Monday or Tuesday for those recordings. But otherwise, go ahead and click on those, vote for what you think the coolest thing was today that you saw, and then we will present the winner on July 22nd. So thank you so much to all of our presenters. Everybody did such a great job. And we will just leave this up for a second for you to get the form, but otherwise we will see you next week. So thanks, everyone.